There is something magical about the enchanted forest that draws people in, promising adventure and unforgettable experiences. The tall, ancient trees with their thick canopies, the whispering wind, and the soft glow of the moon create an atmosphere of wonder. However, hidden beneath this beauty lies a darkness that few dare to explore. One chilly autumn evening, a group of 5 friends selects Jamie, Chris, Taylor, and Sam decided to embark on a night hike through the enchanted forest. They had heard rumors of strange occurrences in the forest at night, but dismissed them as mere campfire stories meant to scare the timid. Armed with flashlights and a sense of adventure, they set out just as the last rays of sunlight dipped below the horizon. The forest was eerily quiet, save for the crunching of leaves beneath their boots and the occasional hoot of an owl. The friends laughed and joked, their voices echoing in the vastness. Yet, as they ventured deeper into the woods, the laughter faded, replaced by an inexplicable sense of unease. "Did anyone else feel that?" Jamie asked, stopping abruptly. "What?" Alex replied, looking around. Chris chuckled nervously, "You're just getting spooked. There's nothing out here but us and a bunch of trees." But Jamie wasn't convinced. Neither was Taylor, who had been feeling the same uneasy sensation. Despite their growing apprehension, the group decided to press on. They switched on their flashlights, illuminating the path ahead with narrow beams of light that seemed to be swallowed by the darkness beyond. The path twisted and turned, leading them further into the depths of the forest. As they walked, the wind began to pick up, carrying with it faint whispers that seemed to come from all directions. It was as if the forest itself was speaking to them, though none could understand its language. "Did you hear that?" Sam whispered, stopping in his tracks. "Hear what?" Chris asked, his voice betraying a hint of fear. The group huddled closer together, their eyes scanning the dark shadows cast by the trees. They strained their ears, trying to discern the sounds of the forest from the beating of their own hearts. For a moment, there was nothing but silence. Then, the footsteps started again, slow and deliberate, echoing their own. Panic set in as the friends realized they were not alone. They broke into a run, their flashlights bobbing wildly as they navigated the winding path. The whispers grew louder, now accompanied by the rustling of leaves and the snapping of twigs. "Keep going," Alex shouted, urging the others on. The forest seemed to close in on them, the trees standing like sentinels watching their frantic escape. Their breaths came in ragged gasps as they pushed themselves to run faster. As they reached a clearing, Taylor stumbled and fell, her flashlight skittering across the ground. Alex and Jamie stopped to help her, their eyes widening in terror as they saw the shadows at the edge of the clearing drawing closer. "We have to go now," Jamie urged, pulling Taylor to her feet. With adrenaline coursing through their veins, they continued to run, fueled by fear and desperation. The shadows seemed to be playing with them, always just out of sight, yet close enough to feel their presence. It was as if the forest itself was alive, determined to keep them within its grasp. After what felt like an eternity, the trees began to thin, and the friends saw the faint glow of their campsite ahead. Exhausted and terrified, they burst through the tree line, collapsing onto the soft grass, gasping for air. For a moment, they lay there in silence, their hearts pounding in their chests. As they caught their breath, the whispers ceased, and the oppressive weight of the forest lifted. They were safe, at least for now. But just as relief washed over them, Sam realized something was wrong. "Where's Chris?" he asked, panic rising in his voice. The group looked around frantically, their eyes searching the dark edge of the forest. Chris was nowhere to be seen. The chilling realization hit them like a cold wave. Trice had not made it out of the forest. Fear and guilt gnawed at them as they debated going back in to search for their friend. The shadows seemed to watch, waiting for their decision. But as the first light of dawn began to break over the horizon, they knew it was too dangerous. The forest had claimed Chris, just as it had claimed others before him. In the days that followed, the friends returned with authorities to search for Chris, but no trace of him was ever found. The enchanted forest kept its secrets well, leaving only haunting whispers and the lingering feeling of being watched. The group never returned to the forest, haunted by the loss of their friend and the knowledge that some mysteries are better left unexplored. They had ventured into the forest seeking adventure, but what they found was a chilling reminder of the unknown that lurks in the shadows, waiting for the next curious soul to wander too far into the night. The Valley of Shadows was known to be beautiful yet mysterious, attracting adventurous hikers with its sprawling trails and stunning vistas. But when the sun set, the valley took on a different character. It was a place that exuded an aura of mystery and danger, where the light of day seemed to barely penetrate the dense forest, and the shadows seemed to dance with a life of their own. 4 friends Liam, Ava, Noah, and Emma set out to conquer the valley, eager to experience its beauty. They planned to camp overnight and explore the valley's deepest trails. As they hiked, the friends marveled at the beauty around them. The towering trees and lush greenery were like something out of a fairy tale. The sunlight filtered through the leaves, casting dappled patterns on the forest floor. The hike was challenging, but the friends were prepared. They laughed and shared stories, enjoying each other's company and the adventure. But as the afternoon gave way to evening, the atmosphere shifted. The sky darkened quickly, and a chilling breeze swept through the valley, causing the leaves to rustle ominously. "Are we almost there?" Emma asked, glancing at the darkening sky. "Just a bit further," Liam assured, checking the map. "There should be a clearing up ahead where we can set up camp." But as they pressed on, the trail seemed to twist and turn in ways they hadn't anticipated. The familiar landmarks vanished, replaced by an unfamiliar landscape of twisted trees and overgrown paths. It was as if the valley itself had shifted, leading them astray. "We're going in circles," Noah said, frustration creeping into his voice. Panic began to set in as they realized they were lost. The shadows grew longer, and the temperature dropped, the chill seeping into their bones. The forest was eerily silent, save for the occasional rustle of leaves and the distant hoot of an owl. "We need to set up camp and wait until morning," Ava suggested, trying to keep calm. "It's too dangerous to keep wandering in the dark." Reluctantly, the group agreed and found a small clearing to set up their tents. As they huddled around a small campfire, the flickering flames provided a fragile sense of security against the encroaching darkness. But as the night wore on, strange things began to happen. The shadows at the edge of the camp seemed to move and shift, as if alive. Whispers echoed through the trees, soft and indistinct, but growing louder with each passing moment. "Did you hear that?" Liam asked, his voice barely above a whisper. The others nodded, eyes wide with fear. The whispers were relentless, like a chorus of voices speaking just beyond their understanding. It felt as though they were being watched by unseen eyes. Suddenly, a chilling laugh pierced the silence, sending shivers down their spines. Emma gasped, clutching Noah's arm. What was that? The friends huddled closer together, their eyes darting around the camp. The shadows seemed to close in, darker and more oppressive. It was as if the valley itself was alive, feeding off their fear and confusion. "Stay together," Ava urged, trying to keep them calm. "We can't let this place get to us." But the whispers grew louder, and the laughter echoed through the trees. Shadows danced at the edge of the firelight, taunting and mocking them. It was as if the valley itself was alive, feeding off their fear and confusion. "Stay together," Ava urged, her voice shaking. "We can't let this place get to us." But their resolve was tested when a shadowy figure appeared at the edge of the clearing, watching them with glowing eyes. The figure was tall and indistinct, its form shifting and riding like smoke. The whispers grew louder, a cacophony of voices that filled the air. Fear gripped the group as they realized they were not alone. The figure stepped forward, and the shadows seemed to follow, closing in around the camp. The friends were paralyzed with terror, unable to look away from the entity that stood before them. With a sudden burst of courage, Liam grabbed a burning stick from the fire and waved it at the figure. "Stay back," he shouted, trying to sound braver than he felt. To their surprise, the figure hesitated, retreating slightly from the flames. The whispers ceased, replaced by an oppressive silence. The shadows seemed to retreat, leaving the friends standing in the dim glow of the campfire. Realizing that the fire was their only protection, the group huddled closer together, feeding the flames with whatever they could find. The shadows lingered at the edge of the clearing, watching and waiting. The night seemed to stretch on endlessly, each minute an eternity. The whispers returned, softer now but still present, like a distant chorus of voices. The shadowy figure remained, watching them with its glowing eyes, a constant reminder of the danger lurking in the darkness. As dawn broke, the valley was bathed in the soft glow of morning light. The shadows receded, and the oppressive atmosphere lifted. The group emerged from the clearing, exhausted but relieved to have survived the night. As they made their way back to the trailhead, they couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. The valley seemed to whisper its secrets, a reminder of the malevolent forces that haunted its depths. The Valley of Shadows had tested them, and though they had escaped its grasp, they knew they would never forget the terror they had faced. The valley remained a place of beauty and darkness, waiting for the next brave souls to venture into its depths. The Valley of Shadows was infamous among hikers and adventurers. Some said the air was thick with an unsettling stillness, while others whispered tales of people who had vanished without a trace. Despite the warnings, Jack was undeterred. An experienced hiker with an adventurous spirit, he was drawn to the mystery of the valley. Jack planned his hike meticulously, ensuring he had everything he needed: a map, compass, and enough supplies to last several days. He was confident, even excited, as he set off early one morning, determined to be the one who conquered the valley and returned to tell the tale. As he entered the valley, the beauty of the landscape struck him. The dense forest was alive with the sounds of nature, birds chirping, and leaves rustling in the gentle breeze. The morning sun filtered through the trees, casting dappled patterns on the ground. Jack felt invigorated, eager to explore the uncharted paths. He followed the trail deeper into the valley, his senses heightened by the thrill of the unknown. But as the day wore on, the forest grew darker, and the air seemed heavier. The path twisted and turned in ways he hadn't expected, and Jack couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched. Ignoring the knees that prickled at the back of his mind, Jack pressed on, determined to reach the heart of the valley. The forest seemed to close in on him, the trees towering overhead like ancient sentinels. The air was still, almost suffocating, and the sounds of nature had faded into an eerie silence. As dusk fell, Jack realized he had lost his way. The trail had vanished, leaving him surrounded by a maze of identical trees and undergrowth. Panic nipped at his resolve, but he pushed it aside, pulling out his map and compass to find his bearings. But something was wrong. The compass needle spun erratically, refusing to settle, and the map seemed to mark him with its inscrutable lines and symbols. He was disoriented, lost in a place that defied logic and reason. The shadows lengthened, and the forest grew darker. The silence was broken by soft whispers that seemed to come from the very trees themselves. Jack spun around, trying to locate the source, but saw nothing but the encroaching darkness. Heart pounding, Jack knew he had to find shelter for the night. He stumbled through the forest, the whispers growing louder, more insistent. They spoke of secrets, of promises unkept, and of a darkness that lurked just beyond sight. Finally, Jack found a small clearing where he could set up his tent. He built a fire, its flickering light providing a fragile barrier against the encroaching night. But the whispers persisted, circling the camp like a malevolent chorus. Despite his exhaustion, Jack couldn't sleep. The forest seemed alive with shadows that danced at the edge of the firelight. He felt eyes on him, unseen yet unmistakably there. Fear gnawed at his resolve, but he forced himself to remain calm, telling himself it was just his imagination. But as the night wore on, Jack realized he was not alone. A figure emerged from the shadows, watching him with eyes that glowed in the darkness. It was indistinct, a silhouette that seemed to shift and waver like smoke. "Who's there?" Jack called out, his voice trembling. The figure didn't respond, but the whispers grew louder, more urgent. Jack backed away, clutching his flashlight like a talisman. The figure advanced slowly, its movements deliberate and unnerving. Desperate, Jack grabbed a burning branch from the fire and brandished it at the figure. "Stay back," he shouted, trying to sound braver than he felt. To his surprise, the figure retreated, melting back into the shadows. The whispers faded, replaced by an oppressive silence that hung heavy in the air. Jack knew he couldn't stay. He had to find a way out before the valley claimed him. With dawn approaching, Jack packed up his belongings and set off, determined to escape the valley's grasp. But the forest seemed to conspire against him, twisting and turning until he was hopelessly lost once more. Exhausted and defeated, Jack stumbled upon a path that seemed familiar. Hope flared in his chest as he followed it, praying it would lead him back to safety. But as he reached the edge of the valley, the whispers returned, soft and mournful, a reminder of the secrets he would leave behind. Jack never spoke of what he experienced in the Valley of Shadows. The forest had claimed a part of him, a darkness that lingered just out of sight. And though he escaped its grasp, the valley remained, a place of mystery and menace, waiting for the next soul to venture into its depths. For those who dared to enter, the valley promised a journey like no other, a journey that not everyone would return from. Thanks for joining us on this spine-chilling journey into the unknown. If you enjoyed these eerie tales and spine-tingling stories, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Have your own creepy experiences or know a legend that needs to be told? Drop them in the comments or send us a message. And remember, the world is full of mysteries waiting to be uncovered. Stay curious, stay cautious, and until next time, keep your lights on and your eyes open. Sweet nightmares.